lovely viewers to the news desk on Fulltimebuzz TV. Keep watching as we bring you a roundup of the week's special events across the globe. We'll be right back after this short commercial break.
Want to win an Apple Watch? It's simple with Al Mullah Exchange. Use the Al Mullah Exchange app or transfer money online and enter into a drawing to win an Apple Watch daily. Yes, you heard it right. You have a chance to win daily. 61 watches will be given away. Download the Al Mullah Exchange app today. The more transactions, the more chances to win. Everyone is a winner with Al Mullah Exchange.
Welcome back. In the main headline, footage of people clinging to a flying plane circulated around the world in a clear scene of desperation, sadness, and panic, a day after Taliban seized control of Afghanistan.
In the most stunning week throughout the 2 decades of war in Afghanistan, the country's armed forces folded and the government collapsed as the Taliban swiftly advanced in its takeover. Scenes of panic and chaos played out at the airport in Kabul Monday as crowds of people desperate to escape Afghanistan rushed onto the tarmac. Thousands of people flooded the tarmac of the international airport in Kabul as some clung to the sides of a plane even as it taxis down the runway in a bid to flee the Taliban. President Biden has said he stood squarely behind the decision to withdraw U.S. forces from Afghanistan despite a Taliban takeover of the country and the collapse of the Afghan government and military. While a Pentagon spokesperson outlined the rescue strategy for getting Afghan citizens and foreign nationals out of Afghanistan after the country was taken over by the Taliban. Kabul International Airport was one of the last places in the Afghan capital last Monday not controlled by the Taliban, and the U.S. State Department said all its embassy personnel had been evacuated to the airport defended by the U.S. military. Since the Taliban took control of Afghanistan, reports have spread of looting and executions across the country. Afghans based in Kabul have been sending messages to their friends abroad about Taliban ground troops hunting female journalists and doctors in house-to-house searches. The leadership of the Taliban has been at pains to spread a very different message. They have scrambled to order their ground forces to operate with restraint and to persuade all Afghans of their good intentions. Taliban leaders have declared a general amnesty for anyone who worked for the previous regime, asked government officials and journalists, including women, to return to work, and even reached out to minority groups to assuage their concerns. The top of the Taliban hierarchy, many of whom have spent years abroad during the recently ended war, clearly intend on presenting themselves as benign and reform rulers who crave legitimacy among Afghans and recognition from the international community. Far less is clear whether the rank and file Taliban members now governing the entirety of Afghanistan desire the same, much less how and at whose expense any resulting tensions within the Taliban will get resolved. A day after entering Kabul, the group's leading spokesperson Zabiullah Mujahid conducted a lengthy press conference in the city in which he said the Taliban did not seek revenge and would not execute anyone who had previously opposed them. He also assured the protection of women's rights within an Islamic framework, the formation of an inclusive government, and round-the-clock protection to foreign embassies. Many Afghans and experts who have followed the group since its formation believe these assurances amount to little more than a public relations exercise. Some pointed to Mujahid's demand in that same press conference that the media would be obliged to observe Islamic law while reporting, and the way he seemed to suggest that women might only have the opportunity to work in few selected professions. There are questions about whether the Taliban's political leadership is inclined to make more concessions than its ground troops are willing to concede. Reports are already rife of Taliban's rank and file shooting at protesters and public images of women being painted over. This month, a Taliban fighter in Kandahar said the group would never allow elections in the country, while the group's official spokesperson in Doha, Suhail Sahin, countered that view and said, "We are open to all ideas brought to the table, including holding elections." Moving forward, Russia, China, and of course Pakistan have already expressed trust in the Taliban's return to power. But many in the West find it hard to swallow the group's new self-presentation as a resistance force against U.S. occupation without acknowledgement of its own history of domestic cruelty and terror. The world is watching and wondering if the Taliban deserve the chance to rule that they acquired so easily. Afghans are holding their breath and wondering whether it is safe to step out of their homes yet. Meanwhile, in the United States, more than 300 Afghan Americans wielding signs that read "Help Afghan Kids" and "America Betrayed Us" protested outside the White House last Saturday to decry the U.S. withdrawal from Afghanistan that led to the Taliban seizing control of the country.
You betrayed us! Biden, you betrayed us!
Meanwhile, 10 Nigerians who hijacked a Chinese fishing vessel and kidnapped crew members in May last year have been sentenced to 12 years.
This is the first custodial sentence under the anti-piracy law passed in 2019. A federal high court judge also ordered the convicts to pay a fine of $600, equivalent of 435 euros, and said they were an embarrassment to the nation and had impacted the economy negatively. In August last year, a court in southern Nigeria made the first convictions under the new anti-piracy law when it fined 3 men for hijacking a tanker off the coast of Equatorial Guinea and securing a $200 ransom for the crew. The merchant shipping industry has long pressed Nigeria to take action in the seas in the region, which have been dubbed Pirate Alley. The area accounts for 90% of maritime kidnappings globally, according to the International Maritime Bureau.
Britain has sanctioned the son of Equatorial Guinea's president for misappropriating funds.
Britain sanctioned the son of Equatorial Guinea's president for misappropriating millions of dollars on luxury mansions, private jets, and a $275,000 globe won by Michael Jackson. Foreign Secretary Dominic Raab said Theodore Obiang Mangwe, who is also Vice President of Equatorial Guinea, had participated in corrupt contracting agreements and solicited bribes to fund a lavish lifestyle inconsistent with his official salary as a government minister. The government of Equatorial Guinea did not immediately respond to a request for comment. Britain said Obiang had bought a $100 million mansion in Paris, a $38 million private jet, a luxury yacht, dozens of luxury vehicles including Ferraris, Bentleys, and Aston Martins. The Foreign Ministry said he also bought a collection of Michael Jackson memorabilia, including a $275,000 crystal-covered glove Michael Jackson wore on his bad tour.
Moving forward, Buduburam Camp, which over 2 decades ago served as home for refugees, is to be demolished to pave way for redevelopment of the area.
Buduburam Camp housed refugees from neighboring states for decades and is scheduled for demolition to facilitate development of the area. The place, if developed, will have a senior high school, residential community, and a modern market. The camp, which was decommissioned as a refugee base by the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees (UNHCR) in June 2010, has become a settlement and now bears the infamous credential as a hideout for social defiance, including alleged robbery gangs.
Get scared because, we ride in cars often and our music is on TV now. Most stations are playing it and some people identify us when we go outside as musicians or upcoming musicians, so to say. So at least at times we get scared, very scared. But then we have Operation Come Live running around every time here, so at least it's better, but I think there should be more security here.
The UNHCR began pulling out of the camp in April 2007, slowly restoring all UNHCR administered services. June 2010 was the official cessation of refugee status for the refugees in the settlement. Buduburam, located in Ghana, was established in 1990 to accommodate the influx of Liberian refugees who fled to Ghana when Charles Taylor came to power. Initially, the UNHCR provided the settlement's residents with individual aid and relief. In 1997, Liberia held elections that the UN judged to be fair enough to allow safe repatriation conditions. As a result, the UNHCR discontinued refugee assistance to Liberians in Ghana, and the settlement lost much of its funding. During this time, an estimated 3,000 refugees returned to Liberia. Most chose to remain in Ghana, and the Buduburam settlement served as the center of their community.
Moving to Kenya, from scooping gold medals to picking tea in Cherangani, where did it all go wrong for elite Kenyan athletes who won accolades at international marathons?
Not many of the younger generation might have heard of former Kenyan athlete Delilah Asiago, but sports enthusiasts fondly remember her as one of the elite long-distance runners who took the world by storm for almost 2 decades. Known for her speed and agility, Asiago flew the Kenyan flag high in major international competitions, scooping gold medals in events such as Steamboat Classic, where she set a world record, All African Games, World Championships, Bay to Breakers, where she set a 12-kilometer world record among others. She was also featured as Road Racer of the Year in 1995 by Running Times. Despite having a notable name, the former world record holder is currently languishing in poverty. In a televised interview, Asiago noted her woes began in 1999 when she was banned for 2 years due to doping allegations. She defended herself by stating that she fell ill and took medicine which later tested positive for doping substance. Seeking to reclaim her lost glory, Asiago made a momentous comeback and clinched medals in events such as the Great Lake Marathon in 2002, Nairobi Marathon in 2003, Rotterdam Marathon in 2004, and the Dubai Marathon in 2006. She participated in the 2008 cross-country. More than a decade later, however, she stated that life took a turn for the worse as she struggled to make ends meet. According to the former athlete, part of the millions she won during the events was used to reconstruct a house for her parents in Nakuru. She also delved to invest in other properties, but currently could not account for all the millions she gained during her
Some
heyday.
Ghanaian lawmakers are pushing for approval of a proposal that criminalizes LGBTQ acts.
While a section of Ghanaian liberals on social media are still debating over whether a bill proposal to criminalize LGBTQI acts is apt, a list of lawmakers pushing for the bill to be passed have emerged. The lawmakers, 80 in number, are pushing for approval of a bill that criminalizes LGBTQI acts. Though homosexual acts in Ghana are punishable by imprisonment and considered to be against the socio-cultural and religious norms and teachings, the latest move will be one that will definitely not be welcomed by some liberals. This is what a human rights lawyer has to say on the issue.
Previously, it used to be the case that there were certain offenses that the Supreme Court. And so at this point, there's no such offense. However, the law still stands that under laws, so criminal procedure code, there are certain things that the court is supposed to consider in awarding bail.
Leading the pack in terms of social media activism for the anti-LGBTQI bill is Ningo Prom MP Samuel Nati George, who has not shied away from his stance to ensuring the bill is passed by Parliament. Among others of the 8 MP list are Honorable Bedra Imakwesi, Honorable Ellen Adjoa Ntoso, Honorable John Timfojo, Honorable Alasan Suhuyini, Honorable Ritana Adolesowa, Honorable Dafia Mekpo Echeroxy Nelson, and Honorable Dela Sowa.
In a sad story, Haitians emerged from makeshift shelters on Tuesday to resume rescue and reconstruction efforts after Tropical Storm Grace tore across Haiti, which was already reeling from a devastating earthquake.
Tens of thousands of people left homeless by the quake had to decide whether to brave the storm under flimsy tarpaulins or risk returning into buildings damaged by the tremor. At least 1,419 people are known to have died in the 7.2 magnitude quake. Rescue workers dug through rubble on Monday in a desperate attempt to find survivors before the heavy rains were able to turn the earth into cloud mud, making locating those buried even more difficult. Grace, which had been upgraded from a tropical depression to a tropical storm, was west of the city of Lakes and moving further westward towards Jamaica, according to the U.S. National Hurricane Center. NHC had earlier predicted that Grace could dump up to 25 centimeters, that is 10 inches of rainfall over the worst affected areas. It is feared the deluge could trigger a landslide. The southwest of Haiti appears to have suffered the worst of the damage from the quake, especially around the city of Lakes. Homes, churches, and schools were among buildings flattened in the quake. Some hospitals were left overwhelmed and in need of supplies as they struggled to treat the injured. It's hard enough to treat survivors of any natural disaster, but when the hospitals themselves are under fear of collapse, it makes it even more difficult.
Thank you so much for watching the news desk on Fulltimebuzz TV. Keep watching as we bring you interesting stories from across the globe every week. I'm your lady, Grace. Thank you so much. Have a nice day.
In case you've not subscribed to Fulltimebuzz on all our social media platforms, it's never too late. Just type in capital F, small u, small L, capital B, small u, small z. Give a space, type capital T, small v on Facebook. Just click on the like button and you get access to all our videos and all live interviews that is being done in the studios of Fulltimebuzz. You can do likewise to Instagram and YouTube, and you will enjoy more exclusive talk, more funny videos, more exclusive interviews, and more news on Fulltimebuzz TV.